Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today for the live event, a conversation about the rebrand and pivot of the Women's Leadership Forum. This special live event is brought to you by AIGA Baltimore, Charm City's chapter of the Professional Association for Design. I'm Frances Miller, the Vice President of AIGA Baltimore. For those of you who don't know us, AIGA is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our goal is to advance design as a professional craft, a strategic advantage, and a vital cultural force. Our 75 chapters across the US are run 100% by volunteer leaders, serving over 20,000 members. As the largest and oldest community of design advocates, we bring together practitioners, enthusiasts, and patrons to amplify the voice of design. We define global standards and ethical practices, we guide design education, we enhance professional development and make powerful tools and resources accessible to all. If you're interested in learning more about our chapter, please visit us at baltimore.aiga.org. You can also find information about board leadership opportunities, and we would love to talk with you about joining our board. You do not need to be a designer. We were just talking to Colette about this. You don't need to be a designer to join our board or to help out, and no prior board experience is required, just a willingness to share creative ideas and a bit of your time. So before we begin, I just wanted to mention one of our Baltimore chapter sponsors, Indigo Inc. They're a wonderful digital printing company based out of Columbia, Maryland. And with all of that said, it's my pleasure to introduce Valerie Anderson, AIGA Baltimore's president and creative services manager at Sterilex. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you, Frances. Yes, we are so excited for this evening's event. And thanks so much to Frances for the introduction. I'm really excited to present and have a casual conversation today with our special guest, Colette Coakley. Colette is the founder of the Women's Leadership Forum and Vice President of Human Resources at Maryland Public Television. For the past 3 years, Colette has orchestrated the Women's Leadership Forum as a one-day in-person event. And this year, the 4th year for the forum, marks a lot of changes. The forum has grown from a beloved local event to a global organization with a women's networking group and a 3-day virtual event called Forwardwlf, Women's Leadership Forum. So tonight we're going to be hearing from Colette about the forum's brand story and the transformation of the event from in-person to virtual and all of the things that entailed. So I'd like to give a warm welcome to Colette, who is the person who oversees the brand strategy and execution, including creative, speakers, sponsors, vendors, and WLF Live. Welcome, Colette Coakley.
Well, thank you. And I know that it's just probably a feat of getting that last name right. And so I appreciate your pronunciation. I thank you for having me here to talk about rebranding and pivoting of the Women's Leadership Forum.
So we wanted to start out a little bit to talk about how the event pivoted from being an in-person local event to this global virtual forum.
Wow.
What was the impetus? Obviously, pandemic, I can guess.
Yeah, all of us pivoted. I mean, individually in your household, you probably pivoted 10 times and can't even count the ways. I mean, just think we are now, most of us are wearing masks every day, right? Who would have thought it? Really, I thought about sitting this out, this year out, and it really had me in a non-creative mode. I really thought that it was going to be a year in which I would just sit and think about how I could make the forum bigger and better. And I was given the opportunity to join a virtual class on virtual events. And I took the class. It was a free class. So why not, right? We're all sitting at our computers. Why not?
And so many free events this year.
Yeah. So you go to a free event and then you find out, wait, this is not so bad. Mm. And then they ask you for $99 to do what? Learn more. And so the class intrigued me so because it talked about engagement, getting your audience engaged, making sure that they understood why you were there, and then how could you actually pivot from a live in-person event to something that was virtual that made your audience feel as though that they were actually participating in that event, although it was virtual. And so it dawned on me, I think I'm being given a message that you're not just to sit out. You are actually, you can make this feel, look, get people involved, get people excited about themselves, about their participation in an event, even though they weren't actually present in the sense of being in person. And because I'm a human resource director, right, it intrigued me how I could get people involved. How could I not only use this for the event, but how could I use this for other events? Because if we were going to be at home, how could I make this work for everybody? It was going to be a win-win. And so I was determined to take that $99 class. The $99, I got a bigger bang for my buck because the $99 was a three-day event. And yeah, they try to upsell you at the end to the big $3,000 that they wanted you to spend. But I got so much out of that event that I decided that we were going to be virtual, and not only virtual for one day, like our in-person, but virtual for 3 days. So we pivoted, right, to a 3-day event.
So before we go further, there are probably a lot of people in the audience that do not know what the Women's Leadership Forum is about. I personally have been a part of the live in-person forum for the last 2 years, but for those who haven't maybe attended before, tell us a little bit more about what it is and why it was created.
So the Women's Forum was created, of course, it was a brainchild of a HR director. And over the course of my experience, which is over 20 years, I saw women at a disadvantage. I saw them wanting to climb, but not knowing exactly how to climb. Or in their climb, they didn't have the tools to climb, or they didn't have access, or they didn't know which direction to head in. And it seemed to be a fog, because a lot of times we decide that we're going to do it alone and by ourselves. And so what I found is that there was a strength in numbers, in the collective value of us gathering. Now, not to use us as an example, but there are 3 of us with knowledge here. And if we share that power, right, because knowledge is power, then we're able to move one another forward in another way. And so I thought if I could bring mentors, and if I could bring entrepreneurs, and if I could bring designers and other people to the table for those who were in need, we could pair them up and match them up and network to collectively move each other forward in our home, in our community, in our household, in our workspaces, however we saw ourselves moving forward. And it was a safe space for women to be able to ask their questions and get them answered. It was an easy space to obtain, to get your questions asked and answered, and no harm, no foul. No one was there to be judgmental of who you were, where you came from, if you were a CEO, and we could match you up with someone who was just getting started. Can you just imagine being able to sit next to Major General Singh, who was our keynote speaker last year, and being able to ask her, like, how did you get started? Oh my gosh, there's power enough in that. And just being able to ask that question of somebody who you never would have had that opportunity or might not have had that opportunity to address your question to.
One of my favorite things about the in-person event were those workshops where you got to sit in a classroom or a smaller group setting with these speakers that would have been on the stage, and you could ask those personal questions and get more information and make form relationships. And how is that going to be this year with the virtual setting? How are those individual workshops going to be run virtually?
So I'm going to connect that to pivoting. Okay, so my aim is to get all the audience involved. And one of the things that most of us are complaining about now is that in the virtual space, we have to sit here and actually sit here. And our involvement and our interaction is very little. What our speakers, we have 13 workshops. We're giving everyone the opportunity to choose to go in a workshop and come out of the workshop, go in another workshop and come out. You can stay right with the workshop that you chose in the beginning, or you can decide, I'm going to visit all 13 workshops and see which one suits me the best. So the thing that I am most happy about is that we've chosen a platform, and it's not a cheap platform, but it's a platform that suits the needs of our audience. It's called Hopin. And so if anybody has experienced that, it's a wonderful experience where you're chatting in any of the rooms, as long as it's set up that way. You're chatting, you're interacting with the audience, the audience attendees are able to network with one another. And in the workshops, you are able to go in and out of the workshops if you choose to do so.
Do you have to be tech savvy to do this, or is it going to be pretty self-explanatory?
So I'm glad you asked, because at the beginning, part of our meeting tomorrow is to discuss that very thing. We ask that all of our attendees attend, not only attend, but read the directions that we actually send out to you. So you'll get a direction on how to navigate. And then at the forum itself, you'll understand how to navigate from someone live. Once you get in it, there are going to be buttons that you can click on, not static like we are right now, but there are buttons that you actually click on that allow you to navigate throughout the entire event. So it's like a menu that you receive, if you will, and you are able to click in the menu. And it doesn't mean that you will click yourself out. It means you might click yourself into a room in which something is happening. So there should not be the fear of, wait, I clicked and I'm all of a sudden going to appear on the screen. You're actually a part of the audience. The other is that we have that grand old help desk. And so there's a big help desk, and there are a number of people that will be there waiting to help you navigate your way through the forum.
Did you feel like it was a bit more work to do this virtually, or how does it compare to the in-person experience of organizing an event?
Wow, what a good question. So either event requires an events person. And so I'll just let you know, we did hire someone to help us with programming the event. I'm going to give a shout out to Erica Roberts of X is Possible. She has done a number of these events, and she offers her skills to helping to marry the technical piece along with professional Black men who are providing the technical aspect of our program. But the work is, I would say it was equal. You still have to program where people are going to be, how they're going to be, the timing of it all. I think the difference for me is and this is where some of my television experience has come in, because I've worked at another television stations. The graphics that you see here today, they have to be programmed into the event. And so that's not work that I typically would do with a in-person event, but I have to know everybody's name. It has to be spelled right. It's got to be the look and the feel, which we'll talk about look and feel later. It all has to marry with your branding and what it is that you want your audience to experience. And so you have to map that out prior to, and that's what my partner Erica is helping me with. So the work is a little bit more, I would say, than the in-person event. I've even had, and I'm giving this clue to some of the audience members, I've had sponsors actually ask, hey, you're going virtual, that must cost you less. It actually costs more.
Wow.
It actually costs more. Where you're paying for the venue, you're paying for a crew of people to help you to produce an event virtually. It's like producing a television program, and that takes a crew of people to help you to produce it.
Definitely, especially if you do it well.
Yeah, if you want excellence.
Yeah. Well, let's move on a little bit to talk. First of all, I don't think we've mentioned when the forum runs, and it's March 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Yeah.
And tickets are available. We'll post the link to sign up if people are interested. Great. And
I was going to say that the event is March 18th through the 20th. It's a 3-day event for which you can go in and out of the event once you have registered. You can register on forwardwlf.org, or you can find us through the hashtag forwardwlf. And let me just say, for the men who are watching, we're not shy. We don't discriminate. We welcome the men, and we welcome your questions as well.
Awesome. So to get into the rebrand topic, I know we have some slides that we're going to pull up. Did you want to do that now? And
I will.
Kind of move into that. Awesome. So tell us about this. This is your old logo, and tell us about the old logo and the reason behind switching.
Yeah. So this was the genesis. Well, there was an iteration before this, but this was last year's event, and really, I'm going to give kudos to the former designer for even picking my brain and coming up with this. We're based out of Maryland, so the Maryland flag was represented. The woman was to show strength. The mountain was the hurdles that we had to climb. MPT is the station that we represent, and this was the Women's Leadership Forum, the words. And the red represented is a representation of power. It is a busy logo. And that actually represents what was in my head. A lot of busyness. And
it's a complex forum. I mean, there were a lot of different components to it. So I can understand why you had a lot going on in your head.
Yeah. And it got to a point where the logo became too complex to replicate, and as we evolved, it didn't really represent who we have now become. So if you'd like for me to go to the next slide.
Sure. Yeah, let's move on to that one. So tell us, while you're doing that, when you decided to rebrand, what went into that? Why did you, I mean, besides the why, it being complicated, you were Maryland based, what were the other reasons that you decided to rebrand? And
some of it was audience. The audience looked at it and was like, what the heck is going on here? You got a lot going on. And then, when you would go to, if I had decided to get the stitching, now, let me do this real quick. Okay, for those of you who can see, I have the newer logo on my shirt here. When we tried to go to the stitching, to get it embroidered on anything, the embroiderer said, "This is complicated. Do you know how much this is going to cost you?" And all that went into it, it was just way too much.
It's really hard to make a full color logo like that, one color. I can imagine the difficulty you had with the stitching and or even just putting it on something that was supposed to be one color.
And it wasn't crisp. It wasn't crisp and clear. And we needed to pivot. That's what it was. That's what I want to say. And so we pivoted in our logo. If you notice, we kept the flag. The flag was the thing that represented a lot, and people recognized the flag. If anything they told us is we've seen that flag out there, and we decided to keep that. It became important. It became our symbol, so to speak. So we decided that we would choose different colors were presented by the designer, Carol Kessler, who I'm giving a shout out to, who's operating in the background here today. But I'm going to give her a shout out.
And full disclosure, Carol is on our board as well. So she was part of the reason that this event came to light. She's our membership director. So we love Carol, and she's an amazing designer, and thank her for bringing you to us as an event.
Yeah. So kudos to Carol. We appreciate, I appreciate, and the forum appreciates how far we have come. We have moved. Now, listen to this. So this is the big plug. We have moved forward in our design, in our thinking. And I think it also symbolizes the fact that we have moved forward. These words become even stronger to our brand and our audience members. And so what I hear most, they might not even get the Women's Leadership Forum part out. They're like, what is that Forward conference? And I actually like hearing them say that, because that's what I want them to take away. Not so much that it was, yes, I can appreciate that it's it's all women, but I want women to take away that this is forward thinking. We're in a period of time in which, a lot of things are cloudy. A lot of things are keeping us static. That COVID is keeping us static. We're in our homes. And what I want to get across to the women is that we must march on. We, in our households, in our work, in our thinking, with our family, with our friends, and even if it means being virtual, we need to figure it out. We need to figure it out. So the forward symbol becomes a lot to women and audience members. The colors are purposeful. The purple is a regalness. The red is a symbol of strength. The ochre, if you will, was something that Carol and I discussed for a long time, because yellow was just not what I really wanted. So ochre is a version of yellow with other colors mixed in it, and we settled in on that. And that is a symbol of wealth and money. And a lot of people look at this and they also, oddly enough, see blues in this, depending on your screen. So they're like, whoa, USA, USA. So, I think that this was a slam dunk when it comes to pivoting, and for the many reasons.
Tell us about the W. Besides the fact that it's holding up the flag, what else does that symbolize? That line coming up on the W to meet the flag.
So I'm not a grand clicker, but I wanted to move back. But if you notice that in the prior logo, there was a woman on the mountain, and she was holding the flag, and the flag was actually taking stake in the mountain. And so it is a power symbol. It is a launch, and the direction that the W is going up. It's not, going every which way. The flag is actually, the slant of the W symbolizes moving forward. If the flag is caught in the wind or in its window, it is blowing in a direction for which we are even fighting against the elements, but we're still moving forward. So the W has a lot of, besides being the first letter in the word woman,
I love that.
has grand meaning that we're staking claim in our lives and what it is that we're doing as we move forward.
Something I also thought about with that is, you have the mountain, and it's almost like a part of that mountain carrying over from the old logo, and that sort of idea of elevating women, elevating people to move forward. So I love the movement in that flag, the W, and the whole logo as a whole. Let's move on to the next slide and look at, we have the color palette played out here, a few other pieces of or representations of the logo. And tell us a little bit about that pattern that you see on the right, or at least on my right.
So this pattern here is like, and my designer Carol knows that this is like my favorite. If anybody out there would love to design a poncho or a piece of clothing, I'm for it. I am for it. I love this pattern here. It is used in many ways that you will see throughout, this presentation. It still picks up all the colors that we have chosen. Sometimes you will see it in its boldness. Sometimes you'll see it in the faint, in the faintness of the background of a design. But you will continually see this pattern throughout some of the things that we have come up with and that Carol has created for the Women's Leadership Forum. I can move to the next slide if you like.
Yes, let's do that. And on the next one, you have, what is it, 4 pillars. So tell us about each of those pillars. What do they represent?
So the 4 pillars, we use the word for in many ways. So we have 4 pillars. The W stands for women, the A for access for action. We want the women to have access for action, not just access, but we want them to take action. are for resources that we are here for you to utilize the resources that we make available. Many of them are free. Many of them you just need to click and place a call and mention the Women's Leadership Forum, and you have grand access. And then D, we are here for your development. This event brings many things for you over the course of 3 days, and it's to help you to grow and to not only your network, but to grow in your knowledge.
Wonderful. That's so clever. I love the play on the word forward there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your letterhead on the left and
So we
business
have
cards.
letterhead, business cards, and again, you see, like I mentioned previously, how we've used that arc and the colors of the arc in our in the detail of the card. You see the faintness here. You see it more prominent on the purple, and again, you see that red flag that will be forever prominent.
Awesome. I wanted to stop and just mention that if anybody's watching and they have questions, that we are able to see the questions come through Facebook Live. So if you have questions and want to put them in the chat, please do so, and we will try to get to those at the end of the presentation or as they come up. So don't be shy and let us know you're there. Since we can't see you, we'd love to know who's watching. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're watching from. Let's go on to the next slide.
Oh, so this was the very beginning where we were telling people, save the date. And if you notice, again, you're going to hear me say I love Carol a lot this evening.
We love Carol too, so.
Yeah. But if you notice how all the colors are kind of blending in so that they are there's soft tones that represent our women, but the colors that are so bold and prominent, if you look at the picture to the right, that picture is shown constantly when we are marketing ourselves. It shows the collective power that was on that stage when we had our Pearl panelists. And if you notice, there was a call to wear red, the symbol of power, the symbol of power. The red is also prominent in the logos and how we pivoted. So the play off the colors into our website, our cards, our save the date notices, those were all done strategically to capture your eye and to get us started. This was just the beginning of how we got ourselves going. And everything came together to help us in our branding and rebranding efforts for getting our message.
These were the web pages, correct? When you first started redoing your website?
Yes.
So you sort of started with the logo and the base of the brand, the colors, the patterns, the 4 pillars. We're sort of walking the audience through the steps that you took, correct?
Yes. And also, let me just add here that this is where some of the virtual thought mindset had to come in, because you think about sending out save the date cards when you are in person, right? And when we first got started in last year, we sent out cards early for people to save the date. And so you really have to sit back and think, what are you going to do virtually? How are you going to get your audience involved? How will you be top of mind? How are you going to have them have that same experience? And this was kind of the virtual beginning of asking folks to save that date. Are you coming back? Because people really didn't know during the COVID period who was going to come back at the time, right?
Correct.
So this was the beginning of our ask of the audience.
At what point, I guess it was after the March event, in-person event, at what point did you realize that you were going to go virtual? I mean, did you wait a while and or did it sort of take place pretty quickly? I guess you've been planning for the past year, correct?
I have been planning for the past year. You know, like anything else, everything was so up in the air. We didn't know where COVID was going. And
Exactly.
what I was concerned with is like, what would happen? Because I'm going to lose the momentum if I don't reach out to sponsors. And then sponsors, I'm going to be transparent. Sponsors were going, what are you talking about? We're in a COVID period. Are you kidding me? You want me to think about spending my dollars this way when it's got to be the other way? You know, I got to concentrate on COVID. And I really had to mull that over. That along with, okay, I'm losing my creativity mojo here. So what am I doing? So being in a funk was really real. I just didn't know what to do. I will say that the tipping point became that virtual event and being around, and this is where, you know, the sisterhood comes in. And this is what the Women's Forum is really about. Having people around you that say, yes, you can do it. And here's how. Even when I'm stuck, some of my partners may not be stuck. And so
That's
even
so true.
it is a bigger lesson than just branding. It is actually a business lesson, which is surround yourself with people who will encourage you despite of. And so when you get into a funk, they will say, what are you doing? You should be doing something, and you can make it happen. And I did have that, and I'm fortunate enough to have those people around me who gave me a push. I can't really remember like dates. I'm not good at that anyway. I can't remember the exact dates that I said we're going to move forward with.
Ironically.
with
At what point did you decide on that word forward, by the way? Do you remember? Was it in your mind when you reached out to Carol? Or how did you even talk to Carol about this? I mean, how did you find her?
Well, I will be honest. I wanted to do something different, and I did not have a designer. I searched on the internet, and I wasn't happy with the return. I had the fly by night. I can create you a logo, and you know, you'll have one tomorrow. Is it going to be this or that? And I didn't have I didn't feel like I had a partner. And that's what I needed. I needed someone who was willing to listen to all my thoughts, make sense of it in a branding world and a moving ahead world, and someone with some experience. And I had people who were willing to sell me on that. But at the end of the day, I chose Carol because she does listen to me. If you're listening, Carol, she does listen. She listens to what I say, and then she gives me choices. And Forward was not the only choice. I can't remember what the other choices were. And quite frankly, because Forward is the choice, I don't even want to go back to what that was. But there were choices that I had. I had opportunity to choose other things, and I appreciated that. She did not push me on which one I should choose. I think I asked her, what was it about the word, about Forward? What did it mean to her? And I just got excited about it. and we went from there. And I felt like my audience, that was something that the Women's Forum audience needed at this time. We're stuck in our homes. We're stuck. We can't. Where's the vacation? Where's the party? Where's, what can we do? And so how could we move forward in thought and physically, mentally? It all came together.
Yeah, it makes so much sense because you look forward to something, you move forward, there's so many verbs that you can add to that and show that action, that movement, the growth. So let's speaking of moving forward,
yeah,
let's keep going with the slides and let's see some more of this wonderful brand. So tell me about this slide. It's are these pages from the website? Are these slides? What are these we're looking at here?
So what Carol helped me to do was, many of us are one woman bands, and I didn't want to carry around a briefcase full of, or a bag full of tricks and papers, and we're in a paperless world right now. And so I wanted I believe in transparency, and I wanted everything to be available for those who wanted to sponsor, who wanted to understand more about the forum. And so this is the deck for the sponsorship. And as you see, all of the colors are being played off of in each one of these slides. The flag is used throughout, making sure that we touched on audience here. Make sure that we were explaining who we were. And if you go through each one of these slides on our website, it tells a story, actually, of how we get to join us. How do we actually move through the slides? I was trying to avoid the word forward, but we move through the slides. I take the potential sponsor through these slides in order to do the ask at the end, to say, join us. Join us in our quest. Join us in our uplifting of women. Be a part of us, and see you March 18, 19, and 20. And then I thank them at the end.
Wonderful. This is something we didn't talk about yet, but are you still looking for sponsors, or what? And I guess we didn't talk about tickets either. I know there are different ticket categories for those who are interested in joining the forum.
Yeah. So let me try my best to throw up the banner here for a second. That is our website. On our website, you can find all the information regarding the Women's Leadership Forum, and anything that you would like to know. And if it's not there, then you have opportunity to email the forum, and we'll answer your question. On that website, there are tickets there as low as $20 for students, and as high, well, there are very few left, as high as $149 for our VIP event. And a $49 ticket gets you access to all 3 days. Now, here's my sales pitch. You will not find a $49 ticket in Baltimore that will get you 3-day access to all of the information that we are providing for you. It's a 3-day interactive event. You're not going to find a $49 ticket. A $50 ticket maybe, but not $49. So we encourage you to support us, support the women. If you decide not to go, support some other women during Valentine's Day. It makes a perfect gift.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have a donation area on the website, correct? So that if somebody And you can pay more than what the ticket costs and support other women who may not have the resources that you have to join this forum.
Absolutely.
So I love that part about it. It's inclusive, it's accessible, and I know you
Yeah.
have scholarships as well that people can
We
sign
have
up for.
scholarships. No woman is refused for coming to the forum. We find a way. We have enough sponsors. That's my job, to make sure and ensure that all the women who are interested in coming to the forum come to the forum. Come to the forum. And if you are interested, and we know that this is a difficult period, we ask you to write us. We ask you to write us. We feel like the information that we're giving is important enough for women to share and have access, that we will examine the circumstances in a non-judgmental way and actually get you moving forward towards getting a ticket to coming to the forum.
Awesome. So let's see what's next. We have
So we have
a couple more slides, I think, and then we could take some questions if there are any.
Okay. So these are different social media banners, different ways in which we've let people know that tickets are on sale. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You can find us in LinkedIn. There's a lot going on with regard to the forum. There's college challenges out there. We have platforms for students. And you will see, if you are following the Forward brand, if you will find that there's a lot that's behind that brand. So just like Kellogg's and General Mills that you see out there, you will see the symbols and the branding out there. But following it becomes important, because there is something for every person, every woman out there who's interested in moving their lives ahead and getting ahead. So age groups start at I would at least say at the age of high school and above. We have internships, scholarships, and apprenticeships that we will be speaking to. And so it's important for them also, if they're interested, to follow the Forward brand.
When you're talking about your audience, I know we have a couple slides coming up that show a little bit more about the audience. So tell us, like you said, high school and up, what's the oldest age that you had at your last event? I think you mentioned.
So I shared with you guys, that would be my mom.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom. Now she's going to make me play this back 10 times, but I will say her name. Her name is Naomi Free. Okay. And she was the oldest attendee. We believe we do not discriminate. In fact, we consider ourselves a very inclusive group. We are looking for women of all ages, knowledgeable women who are seeking knowledge, seeking to connect. We now have retirees who are getting tickets. We sold a block of tickets to retirees who want to attend, and they have a lot to share and a lot of knowledge to impart. All we have to do is bring women there who are curious and who want to ask. And that's all of us. We want to find out more. And so we are asking for you to come to the table. So there is no age limit. The sky is the limit.
I love the variety of ages and backgrounds, and just women from all walks were at the event the last 2 years. Tell us about the speakers and you talked about mentorship as well. I'd like to hear more about those topics, and then how that relates to some of the graphics that we have here.
So I skipped over this, but I'm going back. April Ryan is our keynote speaker, right? And April Ryan, for those who do not know who April Ryan is a White House correspondent, and she is now White House bureau chief for the GRIO.
Wow.
You could also follow her. She has a very robust, very robust Instagram page, if you will, and you can follow her on Instagram. So she's our keynote speaker. She will be hopefully, because she's such a seasoned person, she will be interviewed by our moderator and our Pearl panelist moderator, who is Sheila Murthy. And Sheila Murthy is a prominent immigration attorney here in Owings Mills, Maryland, right?
Wonderful.
And she will be moderating not only conversation between April and herself, but holding conversation with a number of women throughout the United States regarding womanhood. That panel is being followed by the workshops, the 13 workshops that have been mentioned, for which people can pick and choose. That is all happening on day one. On day two, we are for the writers, we are trying to figure out how to get what's in our head out on paper. So if you're interested in starting a blog or starting an article or starting the start to your book, we're going to do some exercises and some engage in activity that helps us to get what's in our head out on paper. Then again, we talk about the appeal to the student and those who are interested in apprenticeships. And so we have a section called Apprenticeships, Scholarships, and Internships. Oh my. And we're going to have discussion with the Department of Labor and their apprenticeship program and Fulton Bank and a couple of others that are coming to the table to talk about their internship program and their apprenticeship program, as well as the Lene Featherstone Foundation. They're going to talk about scholarships. That is followed by career conversations hosted by Erica Roberts and X is Possible. On that same night, if you bought the upscale ticket, we are going to host a happy hour. And that happy hour, with there's a lot going on in that happy hour. I'm going to tell you something not to miss. The first hour will consist of a book discussion. Sheila Murthy has written a book called Being Sheila, and we are having that discussion with the author and Maggie Linton. And Maggie Linton actually is a radio personality.
I think you mentioned food and like a mixologist. Okay. Is that correct?
How can I skip the food, people?
I mean, I gotta mention that part.
A mixologist, right? And you all know what that means. A mixologist. We have a dessertier. We have a chef who will be creating dishes. We have a shopping that evening. We also have some of our sponsors. So if you want to know, more about finances or how to purchase a home, we have those, sponsors available. And I'm missing one. Oh, and the DJ. We have a dynamic DJ coming all the way from California.
Whoa.
Now, I want to also make mention,
go ahead.
We are global. So,
yeah. So how far away are people coming? Or have you noticed any ticket sales from other countries?
Yes, I have. Funny you should ask. We are so forward thinking that the ticket sales are coming from the UK. They are coming from India. They are coming from California, and
Wow.
we are welcoming all of them here. So this sisterhood is no longer, a local sisterhood. We are beyond the DMV and Pennsylvania. We are now worldwide, and I'm super proud and super happy to partner with those folks who are joining us.
And tell us, I know a little bit about what you've been doing with the WLF Live. Tell us a little bit about that. Maybe move on to the next slide. And as we talk about that, we can also sort of hop back and forth between these women graphics. I love the diversity and the colors in these. Let's see, the mug and the card and the door hanger and what.
So I'll do a hard transition here.
All right.
I love the diversity of the women here. And one of the things that I found is that we still are communal and we still like to gather. And what I developed for the Women's Leadership Forum is WLF Live, Women's Leadership Forum Live. And so every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have a discussion live, much like we're doing here on this platform. And by the way, this platform is StreamYard, which allows us to manipulate graphics and banners and take comments all in the same, and stream on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, as well as archive what it is that we are streaming. We gather, women, and we talk about the things that's on their mind. And so every Monday we are doing something with health. We're doing something with cooking, or just your being well, right? And then on Wednesday, we're geared towards workforce development, and we're talking about careers and advancement and workplace issues and getting jobs. And on Friday, we are focused in on family and friends. And again, this is where our women in the community are invited to come forward and talk about what's on their minds in their community that would benefit other women. I had a woman come forward to talk about, she would like to be on the show to talk about mental health. It's a big topic now. Definitely. And I am welcoming her to be a part of the Women's Leadership, Forum, to talk about that and have discussion, period. So if you, audience member, have a topic that you either are the expert of or feel that we need to address, we welcome you as part of our family, and we welcome you to be either a guest or a viewer of that audience.
I love that this is all emerging because of the pandemic and having to go virtual, and now you're expanding globally. You're you have more than just a 3-day or a 1-day or forum, but you have this wonderful platform now, and it's just amazing how much more you're able to accomplish. I
think
than you have in the past.
It's magical, right? It's some say spirit driven, but I just have to tell you, it is the power of the collection of women who have come to the table, whether they've volunteered or whether they have just brought forth their services to be able to help lead this movement. Some people call it a movement, and I'll take it for that. But it's through each and every woman that has brought their talents and their gifts forward that makes this exciting. The fact that you have invited me on your platform and that we're having this discussion.
Or your platform.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, thanks.
It's our platform tonight. So the fact that we're on here together just shows the power of our collection and collectiveness. There's no cat fight in there. There's no dog in that, as they say, dog in that fight. It's just being able to show the worth and the power of women and how we can advance together, and together that we're stronger.
Exactly. So we have one question here. What advice do you have for a business owner who is considering a rebrand?
What advice do I have for the? I would first think about what does, and maybe this is the segue to something that we skipped over. What is your audience or consumer need? I would first think of that. What are you providing to your audience or your consumer that they need? And then
I was going to say, I know one thing we talked about last night as we were prepping. We talked a lot about the why behind behind what you're doing and getting to the bottom of that.
Yeah. There's 2 books, so I'm going to plug the 2 books that I use a lot. It's Start With Why by Simon Sinek and Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Both of those really, you asked me some of the genesis of the rebranding. It was thinking of what are the women asking for, and am I meeting those goals? And a lot of it, people say your group is an empowerment group. Okay, yes. Okay. I feel like we're more than an empowerment group. Yes, we get empowered. We get empowered by our gathering, but we are more than that. We actually move. We actually have action behind what it is that we're doing. We monitor each other. We're an accountability group. So that is part of it, but it's not all of it. We want to be a resource to women. And so you have to really sit back and think, what is it? What are you to these women? What are you providing to the women? What are you providing to your audience? And then what story are you telling? What are you trying to tell? You asked me several questions here today that leads to, it's a story. All of it is a story of how the forward part is even us moving forward in our thinking, in how we service women.
When you reached out, sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
Finish your sentence. Well, I was going to say, when you reached out to find a designer and to begin this rebrand, what did you have in your mind as what you needed, and did that evolve and change over time as the brand evolved?
So I think Carol asked me a ton of questions. And the first one is, what are you trying to do? And there's no harm. There's no harm in it. Might be seem like an off-putting question, but what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And a lot of people come to the table like, just create a brand, and they're trying to walk away. But you can't get the look and the feel of somebody's heart. If this is your baby, Carol could have come up with 10 million different things, but you have to walk away with something that speaks to you, that you're going to be able to go into somebody's office, particularly if you're looking for backing, and be able to sell it. what is it that you feel? Tomorrow we're going to talk, I'm talking to somebody about your heart and your gut feeling and moving forward on the heart and the gut. Okay. What is your gut feeling about forward? What is your gut feeling about the purples? I had a gut feeling about yellow, and Carol knows that now. I don't like it. Okay. She modified it. But you know, yesterday when we were talking, you were saying, no, Carol was saying one thing Colette does is she comes to a decision fast, right? And, you know, that's my gut speaking. And yes, I'm the decision maker. But when you have a team of people, you got 12 guts that are trying to enter and make a decision about one thing, it does become difficult. But they're also trying to say, well, what is that story that we're trying to tell? Why are we choosing red? Why are we choosing the purple? You need to have your why. You need to have your why, and you need to be able to convey that to the person, not only your audience, but to the person you're asking to help you to rebrand. So you can't come with an empty slate.
Just checking to see if we have any other more questions. I think we had a few more slides that we didn't go over, but I did want to ask you, Will, you showed a little bit of the merchandise, and I guess some of that was swag. Will any of this be available for people to buy, download? Is it on your website? Like, if they attend the conference, will they be getting some of these goodies that we saw on the slides?
So I'm so glad you asked. So, anyone attending the forum is going to receive swag from us. Our intent, with the help of the good old U.S. postal system, is going to help us to deliver the swag. The swag is we've mailed our first shipment today. So, woohoo! I'm proud of that. And so now we're just crossing our fingers that the Postal Service will do its thing and get it to you on time. We will, with the platform that we're using, we are saving trees. We are gone to a virtual program. So we will not be distributing a program, but there will be a virtual program at the event. You may, I'm not even sure if we settled. I'm sure Carol will get me on this, but I believe that the program will be downloadable. So I'm saying that with a lilt in my voice.
With a question. Question mark. Maybe we can find out before the evening.
Yeah, right. It's still
Carol.
It's still, and Carol, if you want to put it in the chat, we'll take it. But our plan is to we're going to use the technology, and there will be things in that program that you will have to do, right? Things in the program that you may have to click on to get additional information. So there's a why behind even what we're doing with the program. It is by design. How about that? It is by design that we are making the program interactive, making things throughout the event interactive to keep you all engaged. And so, yes, there will be plenty of swag. I don't want to tell what the swag is because you must pay or play or participate to receive the swag, and we want it to be a surprise to the women. We don't want the swag to be the incentive. We want the classes and the knowledge to be the incentive to come. So I may have said the wrong thing there, but I still...
No wrong thing.
Okay.
I love surprises. Well, is there anything else you wanted to tell us about the rebrand, about the pivoting? Did we leave anything out? one final question I have is, what was the most challenging part of going to this virtual format? Is there anything in particular, or a lot?
There's two things that come to mind. One, I'm not a techie. Well, actually, three things. Three things that come to mind. Sorry, I added something as I said that. One, I'm not a techie. And so what I don't know, I don't know. And so it's the fear of the unknown. Two is being able to make sure that the audience is engaged. And you try things, and everybody's engagement is different. As an HR person, everybody wants to be engaged differently. And my example is this. We actually have, and there's a job for this, a doodler. And so we have a doodler that will visually capture the essence of our keynote and our panel. For those who are who visually intake things better than just hearing, the receiving audible. So we have someone who is going to doodle.
I mean, are they going to be doing it live? Doodling?
They will be doing it live.
Holy cow, that's so cool.
Isn't that cool? So that's awesome. So that's a different feature. The third fear is we have all experienced the technical difficulty. And so no matter what we're doing here, we always are on a wing and a prayer that everything from beginning to end will not experience technical difficulties. We have our methods of trying to deal with that, but it's still, it's just like you expect for everybody at Chick-fil-A to say, "My pleasure." And when you find that one person who doesn't say it, it's like, oh my God, he didn't say it. And so I don't want that experience to happen to anyone. And so I'm telling you now, audience, if you experience it, we have a help desk, and we are going to be there to help you have a smooth experience.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I have a ticket, and I'm really excited to attend the conference or the forum. Any parting words?
Can I just say, the good designer, the great designer, Carol Kessler, chimed in to say, yes, the program is downloadable. Yeah.
Awesome.
And that shows the collective power of women. They will help one another in a pinch, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom? I'm looking at this notes on the PowerPoint, and it says you have over 35 panelists and facilitators at the event. I'm particularly excited to meet new women from all over, not just from Maryland.
Yeah.
Every time I attend these events, I walk away with 20 plus LinkedIn friends and connections. So it's and people that I've stayed in contact with over the years. So it's I'm excited to see who else I'll meet this year outside of the Maryland, Baltimore network.
So it is important, it's important to network. Networking, it may get you sometimes further than actually the knowledge that you have in your head. And that's coming from the HR side of me. Sometimes it's who you know and not as much what you know that will propel you forward. And so what we are saying to you about this event is it's an opportunity to meet other women who might help propel you forward in your careers, in your life. If you're stuck, if you feel like you're stuck, because sometimes you're not stuck and you just feel like you're stuck. If you're stuck in thought, or COVID has a lot of people thinking that they're stuck, that this is an opportunity to have some camaraderie. We have built-in networking, not networking like this happening right here. We have our ways of getting you to network with other women in ways that might be more to people's liking because they are virtual. Sometimes when we're virtual, we're afraid to walk up to someone, and this way you don't have to walk. You might be afraid that you're going to trip on the carpet on the way over to you will not have to have that fear, because unless you're tripping up on your own carpet in your own household, right, you're going to be okay, right? So, and we actually have a professional networker who's going to help you to network where you might not have been able to network, because we feel like that's a key component. And I want to say to the younger generation out there that what I hear in my journey when I am doing career talk is, what are those first words that you're supposed to say when you walk up to someone? Because it prevents them from actually getting started in their conversation. And so whether you're a design person or, I didn't know Carol. I had not a clue who Carol was. But you can start by saying, "Hi, my name is." And as simple as, where did you get the scarf? Where do you like to travel? How did you find out about, I'm giving you a clue. How did you find out about the Women's Leadership Forum? It's a good start to a conversation that can lead and tumble to other things. And so you're just trying to get the party started, as they say. And just
Can you give us a hint as to how you're gonna, or is that all a secret? The how you're gonna have people network? Are there any little clues you can give us about that?
So what we're working out right now is you logging in and having basically a digital business card, and it resides within the forum itself. Everybody can see the card, and no matter what room you're in, I can virtually kind of call you out and say, "I'd like to meet with you at 3:00.
Cool.
Yeah, and so you can go into a room and meet with that person at 3:00. We also have a larger room, which allows for more of the traditional style of networking, but there will be somebody there that will help pair you up or group you up. So
it won't just be an awkward group of people staring at each other on a screen.
No, it's not going to be that kind of party. There will not be, because this person is, if people have said I have energy, they have more energy than I do, and so they will help get the party started. Awesome. And it's promising. I'm excited, and now I'm saying it, I'm kind of getting excited even more about it, because technology has come a long way. And I just think when there was no computer, so I'm telling my age, that when people, had to pick up a phone, and now it's a bunch of texting, right? The younger group is like, "Hey, you don't have to call me. You don't have to call me. Can you just text me?" And so, or just send me your digital card, or I'll get it later. I can find you, whatever that is. And so we're trying to take advantage of that opportunity. I'm learning a lot as I go, and that's what makes it exciting. What I'm hoping to do is share the knowledge, share who I know, share who you know, bring other women along so that they can advance.
Awesome.
And I want everybody, that's all I want. I'm gonna tell you, ladies, I don't get paid a dime more to do what it is that I'm doing. I'm doing it because I truly believe that each and every one of you all have been given a gift, and part of that gift is the gift of sharing with one another. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not to sit on our gifts, we're to share our gifts, and in that we advance. As a result of being a collective force, we are able to advance. And the fact that we are sharing here today, it allows the Women's Leadership Forum, slip of the tongue there, Leadership Forum to move forward, which means that we are advancing. And so I really appreciate you, Valerie, and you, Frances, for having me as a guest. Again, I'm giving all kudos to Carol for helping us to pivot and rebrand, and being there, despite sometimes I've had indecisive moments, and still being there and say, move your brain forward, Colette, so that we can get this done. And that has got us to where we are today. I do want to say to the audience, we started out with 60 people as a notion. We are now in our database over 1,000 women in the database alone, and 500 women gathered together in our last in-person event. And I'm happy to say that we have 600 tickets out of the window. Wow. You know, they're gone out of the window. And so I'm looking forward to seeing each and every person on the screen. Even if you, I'll see you just your name on the screen. I'd rather see you in person, but just knowing that you're there creates power in itself. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to put this together for everybody to advance.
Awesome. Well, we were so privileged to have you on tonight. I mean, you had us on, but but to talk together on your platform through the AIGA network and our Facebook Live, I guess, and YouTube. People can catch the replay. There's Frances.
Yeah.
And if anybody has questions for Colette or for us, feel free to pop those in the chat or the comments under the Facebook Live when you're watching it, watching the replay. We'll check in, answer any questions. You can also, I think, Colette, did you have an email address or anything that you wanted to share with people?
Yes.
Or just the forum website address again? And then our website is baltimore.aiga.org. And our email for anyone with questions about joining the board, volunteering, event planning, speaking, whatever you are interested in, you can email info@baltimore.aiga.org. And Colette,
I'm fast enough. I'm not that fast of a typer.
Okay. Well, we can.
You can type it in after the chat.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll do it after the chat. But yeah, we have. Do we have any upcoming events, Frances, that we want to highlight for? We have a game night coming up.
We do.
On March 11th. We have the talk with Ramon Tejada on March 2nd with SODA Baltimore, which is Society of Design Arts. We're collaborating on an event to interview Ramon Tejada from Providence, Rhode Island, RISD. And he's doing a collaboration with Stevenson University here locally, and some students are involved in that. So we're excited to interview him on Tuesday next week. Anything I'm missing?
I think that's all that we have live right now, but always
Awesome.
more every month.
Yeah.
More to come.
Yeah, check our website. Stay tuned on social media, and keep a lookout for Colette's WLF live tomorrow, and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It sounds like.
That's right. That's right. We'll be live. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, all the way through the event. We're all the way up to the event. We're featuring women from the event. So we hope.
And they can find you on YouTube as well. If they go to your website, there's a link or something that they can find to get to the page where they need to go to see those.
Absolutely. So it's on it's under the live portion of the website.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you again so much, Colette.
You're welcome.
It's been wonderful talking with you. I'm glad that we got to spend this evening together.
Okay. I look forward to
say it one more time.
Forward to seeing you all soon, and especially at the forum.
Awesome.
Me too.
Same.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night.